Good evening and welcome to Anatomy and Physiology. My name is Jean Kasprowitz and I am your student's Anatomy and Physiology teacher this year. I also teach Living Environment, and on opposite years to Anatomy and Physiology, I'm the AP Bio teacher. So welcome to my class. I'm sorry I'm unable to be with you in person this evening, but I'm going to give you a little bit information about Anatomy and Physiology and what we're going to be doing this year. If you need to contact me, the best way to do that is using the email address you see here. That's the quickest and easiest way to get a hold of me. I do check my email frequently throughout the day. However, if you prefer to use the phone, know that if you do call during the school day, they will often put you through to my voicemail, especially if I am in the middle of teaching a class. If you would like to receive remind text messages that I send to your students, there is the information there. You would text on your phone to @AAA7K6K to the address 81010. And then you would get the email reminders or the remind text messages that I would send to your anatomy and physiology students. So what do we study? So in anatomy and physiology, we're going to study the human body. All right, and this is something that we don't do a lot of anymore in living environment. When I first started teaching living environment many years ago, 25, we did a lot of human body systems. So we talked about each of the human body systems. We went through the organs and the structures and what they do. And about 20 years ago, 21 years ago now, that material was taken out of the living environment curriculum and put at different times of their career at school and also into health class. So students that were interested in anatomy and physiology, then they take my class because they like to, learn about the human body. And so that's what we do in this class is we study the structure or the anatomy and the function, the physiology of the parts of the human body. This is my class, all right? There's no state exam at the end of this class. There's no AP exam at the end of this class. I can pace it as I choose. I can pick the chapters that we're going to do. What I can tell you is that there are some things that I always do in this class, one of which is histology. The students are going to learn how to identify different tissue types, looking at pictures from underneath microscopes. I always do the skin, I always do the muscles, and I always do the bones. And then after that, if we have a little leeway, but usually the students want to do the nervous system because that's super cool. And if then we have time at the end of the year, we just pick a body system and we'll talk about it. So again, a lot of what I do in this class is based on what the students' interests are. So if something does come up that they're really interested in, we can spend more time with it because, again, I'm not teaching to a test, which is so awesome in this class. So I do have to give tests and quizzes occasionally, right? So I do have to assess if the students are understanding what I've been telling them. So 40% of their grade will come from tests and quizzes. These are always announced in advance. I don't believe in pop quizzes and pop tests, especially in a class like this where there is quite a bit of memorization. Anatomy, or studying the names of the structures in the body. So like the students are going to learn how to name all kinds of bones. When we do the nervous system, they learn how to name all the nerves, the major nerves that go into the face, and there's tons of them, right? So there is quite a bit of memorization when we look at the anatomy side of this class. So that's something that will be assessed, right? So they'll get pictures of structures and they'll have to tell me what they are and what they do, that kind of thing. The physiology is more how does it work? So that might involve more questions where they might have to write something or multiple choice, that kind of thing. But these are always announced ahead of time because the kids need to prepare. If they were to come into class tomorrow and I said, we're going to take a quiz right now on blah, 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 all right, that's testing how well a kid works under pressure. And that's not testing their knowledge because at that point, if they're stressed, all of the knowledge just flew out of their brains. So I always will tell them ahead of time. So quizzes, they'll know 3 or 4 days ahead of time. Tests, they're going to know well before that, okay, at least a week ahead of time or 5 school days. Students can expect to have some sort of formal assessment every 7 to 10 teaching days. So we'll have, you know, in a marking period, 3, 4, 5 quizzes maybe, and a couple tests. That would be probably around average. All right, everything else we do, all right, falls under the category of class participation. Sorry, my head's in the way here, but we're talking about it, so I'm going to stick me down here for a second. So class participation is super important, right? Hopefully your child has good attendance and can come to school in person. I will be posting things on Google Classroom, but the bulk of the instruction is going to be in person. So I'm not planning on putting up a whole bunch of videos or things like that online, as we want students to be here as much as possible. If there is something medical that is going on that I need to know about, please let me know, and I will accommodate accordingly, okay, as much as possible. All right. So these assignments that count for class participation include things like homework and labs, and anything that we do in class together as a group. So those things are nice because that's like, did you participate in the activity that we did in class today, right? That's like not difficult to do. As long as you're trying and participating, you're good to go. Labs, we do whoopsie, I'm sorry. I wanted to get to the dissection page. We do dissect two things. We do fetal pigs at the end of September as kind of like a preview to the body systems. And then in May, we do, as our final dissection, kind of culmination of the class, the cats. So that's always super fun, and the kids really enjoy it. Yes, there is a virtual dissection option. There has to be, because some kids are just not able to do the dissection. However, I have to say, I've been doing this now, I've been teaching anatomy now, this will be my 5th or 6th time through, so 12 years. I really have only ever had one student that needed the virtual option. For most kiddos that are squeamish about it, they're able to watch, sometimes from a little bit more afar, but they do participate. So there's usually people that are willing to do the touching, and then there's people that are willing to just watch. And so that's usually how it goes. But again, if your child is really uncomfortable, there is virtual option. The cat dissection we did virtually last year, okay, because we were on, or the previous year when we were on COVID at the end of the school year, we did the cat dissection virtually. So that totally is an option. If we do, my other favorite one is to do the cattle femur. So we look at the inside structures of bones, and the femur of a cattle that I get from the butcher. So that's also really fun. I like that one. If I'm lucky enough still this year and we're still able to do them, again, this is kind of a crazy time still, but in the past we've been able to visit Damon College's Gross Anatomy Lab. They are very kind and generous there and give a wonderful tour, and the kids get to see the cadavers, or the bodies that the students that are in the physician's assistant and physical therapy and nursing programs at Damon use to study the human body, and it's very, very cool. And if possible, I would like to take them this year to the UB Medical School Museum. Personally, I've never been there, and I've heard really good things. We did have a trip scheduled the last time I taught the class, but again, the current circumstances kind of made that difficult. So, just a couple of things about seniors. So if you have a senior student, please make sure, and I'm sure this is not an issue, but to graduate from high school, seniors need 3 science credits. One of them has to be a New York State Regent Science credit. So most of the students that get to me in anatomy and physiology have met that requirement as freshmen in living environment. But just sometimes I have students who are taking this class as an elective, and it is their 3rd science credit. They need it to graduate. And if that's your student's situation, it is vitally important that they stay up and make sure that they're getting the work done and that their grades are at a point where we're not scrambling at the end of the school year to get them a graduation requirement met. So with that being said, again, I apologize for not being able to be with you in person this evening. If you need to see me or talk to me, please, you can reach out to me via email, and I hope to see you at parent-teacher conferences later this year. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you.